Man, yeah, just wear the beanie. That's it.
That's pretty solid. I feel good about that. That's a good way to start this. Get the attitude up high, you know.
Good trade 2 J's if you could become Wolverine.
Where are you getting all this information?
I definitely heard some rumors about it. Are you still going? I get goosebumps thinking about it because it's like you can hear them get.
The car, I was going to qualify and I was going to drive that out the racetrack.
Just threw the hood over the ditch and
longest employee of knots.
You did some digging there, huh?
Look, I want to know right in the comments right now if you're coming to one of the events. If you are, drop a comment and let me know if you use the promo code FD Podcast to checkout, save you a couple of dollars. Well, no, drive the comments up. You guys don't comment enough. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm in there all the time. And if I start seeing all these, that's only good for me. Makes the FD, the higher ups, the grand poobahs happy when you use FD Podcast at checkout. They're a little happy. I mean, they're not making as much money, but they're fine with it because they know you guys actually listen. And you do the things that I ask you to do. So if you're buying a ticket, take a couple seconds, FD Podcast at checkout, save a couple bucks. And at the end of the year, they go, hey, you sold a ticket. So see you guys out there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettins, and today we've got Mr. Conor O'Sullivan on, although I have been told you've been called troublemaker for most of your life. So...
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be on here. I'm excited.
Yeah, dude, I'm
long time
super
coming.
pumped.
I know we've been talking about it for a while, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I felt like I definitely owed you it after like event wins, but knowing just how busy your life is and how busy my life is, like trying to line both up was definitely not easy.
Right, for sure. Yeah, we definitely have a busy schedule, and right after New Jersey, we were kind of just driving and traveling nonstop until St. Louis. So
yeah,
we had a busy couple weeks.
I was gonna say you're driving pretty much every weekend now, right? Like
every weekend, every other weekend for the most part. Yeah,
that's wild. Is that do you like? Obviously, there's the big conversation right now about like sim drifting, which I feel like it's kind of like maybe, I don't know, 50 sim laps equals like one real life lap. So obviously your progression has come from more of the real life stuff as opposed to a heavy focus on sim.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I started in a car. I didn't start on a sim. And I probably drove for about a year. And then once I got my PROSPEC license, I ended up getting a sim. I actually have it right here. Nice. I have a motion chassis right here in a box, which I need to set up. I really need to start playing that. I think it'll be a lot better.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how far the motion stuff has gotten to. I've seen some like big access ones too. And I think now we're at a point where like you can,
for sure.
I don't know,
especially with like the Oculus VR and stuff. I've heard it's very realistic with the motion rigs. So
yeah,
I'm excited to get it together.
I feel like I'd throw up immediately. That's the downside.
Right. Well, the first time I actually got my VR, I used to play in third person. First time I put the VR on, I played for like 10 minutes. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, it's, I've done VR a few times. It's just not, I don't know. It's just not for me. It's the motion part of it that just gets me. That being said, I'm like,
for sure. I feel like if you're not looking in the right direction, that's how you get sick. But after I played it for a little bit, it was fine after a while. So very realistic. It's a lot better than a third person. So
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I don't think third person, there's so much restraint to like in the cars, especially with the Halo seats. And then once you get the Hans on too, like you almost need to put those in place just to make sure that your head's, only going as far as what it actually can in the car.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's like the next thing. It'll be like Hans setups that like attach to the Oculus, and you can't,
or like a VR inside of a helmet or something.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Like, I don't know how you would do it, but somebody who makes a VR helmet to really make it all
right. I said
real.
It first.
There you go. Get on the patent on. I mean, you got a little bit of time before this comes out to patent it, so you gotta jump on that
for sure.
Yeah. So I know you've obviously had a massive background in moto before the car stuff, and we've seen a lot of people transfer over from moto into the car side of things. What do you feel like you picked up the most making that transfer over?
I mean, I think anyone that rides motocross or any like terrain vehicles, ATVs, really whatever it is. I mean, I think if you're an aggressive rider, you can get in a car and you're just an aggressive driver right off the first time you drive, really.
Is it like a situational awareness thing or like a lack of fear? Like what is it?
Yeah, I'd probably say lack of fear. I mean, people that ride motocross or any kind of motorcycles, they get in a car and it's just, I'm safe. I'm in a car. I'm caged. And yeah, I would say there's no fear. I mean, coming on motorcycles and stuff, you can definitely get hurt pretty bad. So getting in a car is definitely, with age comes a cage. So
with age comes a cage. I mean, you made that jump pretty early on, though. It's not like you were, into your 30s, which is crazy to think that like 30-year-old dirt bike riders are old.
Right. I mean, I think once you're 30, 35 years old in motocross, it's probably towards the end of your career, I would say.
Yeah. Whereas in drifting, it seems to be that's kind of like where a lot of drivers hit their stride is like into their
for sure,
early 30s.
And then I see people like the Sorensens and Manoa and stuff, and I'm like, I really wish I started younger.
Yeah, but
it's pretty crazy.
I mean, you're what, 4 years in?
Yeah, almost. We're going into 4 years in November is like when I bought my first drift car. So
yeah, so I mean, I think you're playing catch up pretty quick. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Absolutely. I have no complaints.
I'd be curious, like, if we look at like total drift laps between you and like Brandon or Amanda to see what the comparable is, just because you got obsessed right off the bat and then just drove constantly.
Yeah. I mean, right when I bought a car, I drove a lot. So.
Yeah. You had an S chassis first, right? Was that the first?
Yeah, it's still the S chassis I still have. I bought that car in November of 2020, and then it kind of sat for 4 months. I didn't really know where to drive. I ended up buying a car, and then we ended up going to a parking lot in Knoxville that a lot of guys stunt ride at. We had permission and stuff, so
nice.
We went out there, and the first time I drove it, I was just like, I felt at home. I was like, this is it. Because, I mean, coming off bikes, like the adrenaline and the rush, and it's just, I mean, I think, like, with driving cars, I think drifting is the only thing that really compares to that, compared to, like, other kinds of racing. For me, anyways.
Is it kind of the freestyle element that comes from it? Because I feel like that's something that maybe people who are so focused on the car world don't acknowledge enough when it comes to like moto, where even in the race, there is a lot of freestyle element to it. Maybe not with tricks and stuff, but how you attack corners, how you dive, how you approach certain, doubles and triples and stuff like that. Whereas this is one of the only motorsports where you can really show that.
Exactly. Everyone has their own style and everyone drives differently. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I also think it's just way more apparent in drifting as opposed to maybe grip racing. Like, people have different, Daniel Ricciardo's a late breaker kind of thing, but like, unless you really know what you're looking for, I
agree. I mean, you could take me to like a Formula race or like a GT3 race, and to me, all the cars and drivers look the same. Like, someone won't go by and I'm like, wow, that guy's like really ripping. But you can go to a Formula Drift race or like any kind of drifting event and watch someone and be like, wow, that guy right there is just the style and the way he drives,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. It's maybe it's a little more easily identifiable as opposed to grip racing.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe we just don't know enough about grip racing.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I'm sure that is. I'm sure there's someone that's going to be on this podcast that's on like a GT3 team or something. It's like, oh, this guy's got to know what he's. Yeah. But,
that's fine. I mean, hey, we gotta stir up a little controversy.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So overall, obviously this season going incredibly well. Last year seemed to be like some mechanical things, and I mean, to put it, you and I have known each other for a couple of years, so I can be kind of blunt with you.
For sure.
I feel like you have grown up a ton this year. Like your driving seems less youthful, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you made a lot of overly aggressive mistakes last year, and now this year, it's been you're dialing it in more. You know when to be a bit more aggressive. For
sure. Last year, I mean, it was my rookie year, and I was super stressed out, and I really, really cared so much about how I did, and I really wanted to get rookie of the year, and I think that hurt me a lot on the line and stuff. I really maybe just got in my head a lot, and this year, I'm just having a lot of fun this year. So
it seems that way. I mean, the driving reflects that. Where. Yeah, you're not making those silly mistakes that you did previously. I was like going back and watching like old clutch kickers footage too, and like your battle with Nate Hamilton, final battle, and that was just like you just getting too aggressive, and I'm like, that's not something we would see you do anymore. Sure.
I actually got my first place earlier this year. It was always the final battle. I always just threw it all away every time.
What? Do you know why? Like, what was there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but.
I don't know. You definitely seem more relaxed. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm definitely a lot more calm, and I think having our first year of FD under our belt is definitely helped us out a lot. I mean, we can go to the track and we know what setup we need in the car, what gear, and it's we have a better starting point of each layout. So
yeah. When you have the notes and everything else, and maybe the pressure,
the quality of seat time's a lot better. Yeah, and not having the pressure of going for rookie of the year, right? Like that's pretty massive. I mean, right now, basically what you're more or less fighting for is a pro ticket, and I think that's. But even still, like whether you get it or not, or however it goes, like I would argue that's maybe less pressure than rookie of the year. Yeah. I mean, rookie of the year, you can only do it one time. So
yeah, that's a good point. Have you put some thought into if you do get your pro card, what the plan is?
Yeah, I mean, I've had that question asked so many times recently.
I think I've asked you that recently too.
I'm sure you have. I don't want to make the decision yet. I want to see how Utah goes. I don't want to speak too soon. But if I do win the championship, I will probably move up to pro. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, after watching like some of the finals in the pro, I mean, I don't know if I'm really ready for it, but I think making the next step is going to make me a way better driver, and just having the ability to drive with the best drivers in the world in Pro 1 is going to help me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, once you kind of elevate your company, right, you're forced to hang with them.
Yeah.
So I'm sure just even the practice laps and stuff like that, it won't take long to be able to kind of push up.
For sure. I mean, I think throwing myself out there is just going to make me a better driver. So that's what I'm looking for.
I know when you get to like drive with Hurst and stuff like that, you're always messing up his Corvette. So I think there's
every
there's
time me and him
there.
drive together, our cars get absolutely thrashed every single time.
It's good though. It's
they
good.
can't drive home every time. And it's funny because we both have our cars wrapped by AZ Rags, and we always send him pictures like, "Hey, both of our cars are banged up. Like, see you next week, dude."
Yeah, see you, Louis. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Yeah, I think having kind of a buddy like that is good too. I mean, Hurst is good people, and he's a lot of big emotions, and he's also not afraid to tell you if you're not doing something correct. Like he'll be the first guy to yell at you.
For sure. And he's a ripper, so he's always a blast to drive with him.
Yeah. Supportive too.
He's pushing nice. Pro 1 on me more than anyone. He's always like, you got to move up. Come drive with us. So we'll see.
I mean, his driving got a lot better when he made the jump too, though.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really remember watching him in ProSpec. I wasn't really watching drifting at that time, but he definitely rips. Yeah,
he was good. Just honestly, very, very similar mistakes that you made early on, and a lot of people just early on, where it's just being aggressive at the wrong times. But
and it really is. It's just at the wrong time. That's it. Yeah. And now I kind of know where I can step back and play it safe, and where to suck back up. So
yeah, it's. I mean, I hate to call it like a game, but it definitely is. Like you need to know, because if you drive 10 tenths against somebody who's not confident, it makes your driving look worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. And obviously, I'd love to see you make the jump, but I also completely understand the decision to like do another year of it, because the other part too is like you could do another year of ProSpec and then do exactly what you're doing now, go and drive almost every other weekend.
Right.
And
well, that's
still
the thing,
get
exactly.
Yeah.
So if I do move up to Pro 1, I'm probably going to stop doing all these other events that I've been doing. I'm doing like 3 series right now. So
well, you've got what? You've got ProSpec, you've got Gambler stuff, and then what else?
CMD. It's out in North Carolina.
Okay. I'm not super familiar with that series.
Yeah, it's Catch My Drift. They did some stuff last year, so.
Nice.
Trying to do most of that. I think we missed the first one when we were out in Long Beach for Super Drift, but we ended up making the second one, and we're going to try to finish off the season with them too.
Nice. That's good. I mean, this might sound like ignorant. I don't hear a lot about drivers coming out of that area right now, but that could just be, they need to, they're in their next wave of good drivers at this time. And it's just
the North Carolina area?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really, I don't really know any drivers out there either, honestly.
But I mean, every area goes through that, and then you find like 5 or 6 drivers just appear out of nowhere, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even hear about these guys.
Next thing you know, there's 20, 30 of them.
Yeah, which is good. But I mean, you going and driving those events too also helps the other drivers who are trying to find that good seat time, right?
For sure, 100% it does.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. So you're already aware. I'm become good friends with your dad as well. Had some great chats with that.
Here we go.
Bro, some of the stories about you as a child, I'm not going to lie. And a few of these I definitely need you to more or less describe, but you were a bit of a handful. You're still kind of a handful, but definitely when you were younger. Do you know why? Like, have you ever like looked back and been like, why was I wrecking, four-wheelers day one? Like brand new four-wheeler completely destroyed.
My whole family's been into motorsports my whole life. My grandpa was a Honda rider in motocross. He used to travel all over. So we were always watching him race. My mom grew up riding bikes. My dad raced bikes, offshore race boats. He's always been into racing. And he just started us at a young age. I remember I was riding I think it was an electric quad. I was 18 months old. It was actually for my brother, and then I ended up riding it. But kind of all just started there, riding dirt bikes and stuff. So
that was when you were living in like Arizona, right?
Yeah. So I was born in Connecticut, and then we moved to Arizona for about 2 years when I was, I think, about 2 years old, and then we moved back to Connecticut.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really remember Arizona, unfortunately.
I mean, I've only been there a couple of times. I mean, it's hot.
I've driven through. I've never stopped really there. Yeah. I haven't got to explore. So,
your dad definitely provided a lot of stories. A lot of them I don't think I could ever like repeat on air, but it was it's definitely interesting to hear about. A few things.
Well, let's hear some of them.
I'm just trying to think of like what's the best one. I mean, basically anything Tug Hill definitely had a few stories on.
Yeah, we had a log cabin up in Tug Hill in New York, and we used to do a lot of snowmobiling in the wintertime and quad riding in the summertime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my brother had a quad, my sister had a quad, and we had a family friends. All their kids had quads, and everyone would start their stuff up, and it would sound like normal. I'd start mine up, and like everyone would hear it, just open header. I mean, I broke the exhaust off. This thing was literally held together by duct tape. I was rolling this thing just like absolutely just thrashing this thing.
Yeah. I'd heard that literally the first day you got it, you basically wrecked it and then had to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, we walked in there and the owner was like, "You're going to be my best customer." Yeah, I think the first day I rolled it like 3 times.
That's nuts. And he started throwing like the little Calvin stickers with Troublemaker.
Yeah, he had the Troublemaker Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah, I used to put that sticker on all my stuff. Yeah, it's funny.
Was that, did you have those on the end plate? You had stickers on the end plates of your car at one point, didn't you?
What, on the wing?
Yeah.
No, they're just engraved Ocelli Racing. I don't have any Calvin and Hobbes or any of that stuff on there. We were talking about maybe putting it on, but
bring
nice
it
throwback.
back for throwbacks. Yeah,
for sure.
I'd also heard that you had the lake speed record at 134 miles an hour at 10 years old.
Yeah, I think I might have even been younger. I might have been like 8. But there was a frozen lake, so we used to go out there on snowmobiles and just race everyone. And I was 8 years old. My dad had a pretty fast sled, and he used to get me on that thing, and I'd go out to people just hitting the throttle, like trying to race them. And they're like, "Oh, what's this like 60-pound kid gonna do? Like he's gonna let off at like 50 or whatever."
Yeah.
And I used to race these people and just absolutely just smoke them. And these guys would come back and be like, "I thought he was gonna let off at like 80. I thought he was gonna let off at 100," and it just kept going. And there ended up being a cop there. And he had a radar gun, and he had a really fast sled. It was like a tuned turbo Yamaha or something. He's like, "I want you to hop on this sled. I want to see how fast it'll go."
Damn.
And I ended up going, I think it was like 134 or something. And this was back in like 2000, probably 2006, 2007. Jeez. So, I mean, that was a fast sled back then. Almost unheard of, but I weighed nothing. So, I mean, it was fast.
Yeah. It's always interesting to hear about that. Really that lack of fear and like that need to do ridiculous shit and how early that started.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I remember even like going on long rides when I was 10 years old and I couldn't ride the sled 200 miles or something on the street. So I'd get on the front of my dad's and we'd be going through trails going 100 miles an hour, just absolutely ripping. And I'm just sitting on the front of this thing. I'm like, go faster, go faster.
Jeez. Is that in your brothers as well? Like, is that a family thing? Obviously, like your dad and your grandpa, but...
Yeah, I mean, I always rode dirt bikes and raced motocross with my brother, and he was always riding. And then once he got into high school, he got into cars and stuff and kind of took a step back from all that stuff. But,
yeah.
I mean, he had a pretty sick Evo back in high school, so he was kind of in the car scene and kind of just went different ways.
You still got your Evo 9, don't you?
Yeah, I still have my Evo. Can't get rid of it.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a fun car.
just won't get rid of it, right?
I can't. I just think I'll regret it. I mean, my dad tells me stories about cars he's owned and that he wants to buy back now. And it's just like, it's just not something I want to go through and just overpay down the road. So,
yeah, that's a solid point. There are a lot of cars I regret selling over the years, and I've bought back a few of them, now, and yeah, it's more expensive.
And then I don't want to deal with someone else owning it and changing things that I don't, you know what I mean? And beating on the car, more miles on it. The car just sits here and so.
Yeah, I mean, do you take it out for a rip on the odd occasion, or is it just kind of there?
No, it doesn't run right now. It is an Evo, so.
It is an Evo, yeah.
But maybe soon. Maybe this winter I'll get it back going and get it on the road again.
There we go. I mean, there's got to be a couple places you can take it just for a nice drive, although it looks like...
the mountains and the roads. I mean, I live 20 minutes from the tail of the Dragon and like the Smoky Mountains.
Shit.
So it's...
I didn't know you were that close.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's nice. The roads out here are insane. So if you ever come out here, let me know.
It's funny. I was like looking before we started recording because I get to drive down to Florida on Friday, and your dad had just mentioned, he's like, "Oh, if you need somewhere to stay, just let me know." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you, appreciate it." I was like, "Shit, I wonder how far off the road it is," and it's not at all. I literally drive by your town
on the way to Florida.
Dude. So
come on,
yeah, I might get that all arranged and see what my timeline looks like. So
have you ever been on the Dragon?
I have. I actually shot a commercial there a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have a permit to shoot a commercial, but we shot a commercial there. So we were doing like a brake pad comparison. We had two identical cars, and one of them had like I won't like promo the company, but one of them had upgraded brakes and the other one didn't. And it was sick. I mean, talking about being nauseous, like I was hanging at the back of a Cadillac Escalade XLT, like the truck version, with the gimbal, and I think by the end of it, I was pretty much just puking at the rest stop.
It's funny because like I've had some buddies that come out here that stunt ride. I mean, they wheelie Harleys, baggers, and stuff, and these dudes are out of their minds. They come out here and I'll take them for a ride on the Dragon, and 20 minutes in, they're like, "Dude, pull over. I'm ready to throw up." And in the passenger seat, it's a lot different than driving, obviously, but it's definitely a pretty wild road. Yeah,
it's wild. I think. I mean, there's a few, it gets a lot of the hype, but there was a couple of roads we went down that were not the Dragon in particular. And dude, they were almost more fun just because like less traffic. And,
very similar roads too. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could open it up a little bit more. Like really, you're not, like you're topping at 40 miles an hour on a couple of the stretches. And that's about
on the Dragon?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you can open it up more, but I mean, like you can only go so fast. That's
no, for sure. It's a lot. It's tighter. It's more momentum driving, I feel like. But like the Smoky Mountains over here, and there's a road called the Parkway, and it's basically just a stretched out Dragon. So it's like more like 100, 110 mile an hour.
Just like allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you.
Obviously.
I mean, yeah, obviously. With that said, you're definitely not shy about posting some crazy shit. Your YouTube's got some fun stuff on it. That's for sure. I'm trying to get back into the YouTube stuff. It's hard. It's definitely tougher than like Instagram and stuff, but we've been trying to do videos at each round this year and see where it goes. Everyone's always like, "Hey, like I want to like get your YouTube going." And then I get it going and I'm getting like 200 views on it. So come on, guys. It's tough, dude. It's so tough. And the hard part is like, you kind of have to do it for yourself and hope other people enjoy it.
For sure. Cause I mean, I don't even watch other people's YouTube videos really.
Yeah.
So I can't really talk.
No, I got caught. I always get caught up in the numbers, but like once I started going like, this is just basically a diary or a journal that I can look back on and be like, this was one of the craziest times in my life. It became a lot more fun, and I actually wanted to edit and put stuff together. Whereas when I was trying to just get a ton of views, I was just discouraged every time.
Right. I feel like when you do it for yourself too, it kind of just clicks together then. So
yeah, and you I don't know, maybe you leave more in that you would normally cut out, right? Because it's like I this is kind of stupid. I don't think people are going to like it. But you leave it in because you're like, I think it was funny, and it was it was something I want to make sure I remember years down the road.
For sure. Yeah, vlogging's not really my thing. I mean, it's something I do want to do because I think it's good for my program, but it's definitely tough.
Just hard to get in the zone of like talking to yourself, essentially.
For sure.
Pretending
and
like it's
hats
not.
off to like LZ. I watch his videos. I'm like, I don't know how this guy does it.
He's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I
remember in high school watching some of his videos, really before I was even into drifting. My buddies used to watch his stuff and we used to just watch his videos all the time.
Yeah, that was back in like the webisode days where like they were coming out super regular, but like way longer.
Yeah.
Although he does drop some pretty long videos now. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think just, you know, make it you, make it the shit you get up to. And I mean, arguably the best video you ever made was the one of you drifting up the driveway.
I know, which is like, so crazy. You know, it's funny you say that because today I saw a video of this guy reposted it. I don't know if you saw it. He did something funny at the end of it, but he ended up making like $4,000 off it from YouTube, which is crazy. And he literally just screen recorded my video.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane.
Damn.
But yeah, that was like literally the first time we did one with the BMW and one with the 240. In the BMW one, we were actually going to an event, and I had my helmet on for some reason, and Andrew had his walkie-talkie, and he's like, "Yo, your dad said like do a couple entries in the driveway," and I was like, "All right, whatever." So I did a couple more, and he ended up filming one, and my dad was outside like watering the grass or something, and it was just an iPhone video. I posted it up. I woke up the next morning, and it was like 10 million views, and it was insane. Wild. It was just like not even a high quality video, and it just ended up just going viral.
I just think it's like one of those, like so many people wish they could do that, right? Like, I mean, I remember testing out allegedly some of my cars back in the day and like trying to pull backies into my driveway and shit. And like, you know, for me, I was like, oh, I can't post this. Like my neighbors already absolutely hate me. I don't even have proof of the stupid shit that I do.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, we've lived here for about 6 years now. So they're kind of used to it. We broke them in a little bit. And I mean, a couple of my neighbors are pretty cool. This guy, Paul, lives down the street. He's got like a 2,000 horsepower Corvette that's just unreal, 2 parachutes on it. And this dude drives it down the street. He was like, once you moved in, it took a lot of heat off me. So it's pretty funny.
Back to running the dirt bikes down the street again. You'll be all right.
Because that's what it was. I mean, right when I moved here, I was riding bikes. I was doing wheelies up the street on dirt bikes, street bikes, Harleys, doing burnouts, just raising hell. So
yeah, the Gixxer stuff was pretty wild back in the day.
Yeah, I ended up having a bad wreck in high school on a Gixxer. I was doing a wheelie going like 95. Ended up getting pretty beat up. I was in bed for like 2 months. I didn't break any bones, but I got some pretty bad road rash. So I took a break off the bikes for about 2 years, and then I moved down here, and I didn't know anyone, so I was like, it's time to get another bike.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody who rides long enough ends up having one of those stories, and you just kind of decide, you know, you either get back on the bike or you just find something else.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't really think there was going to be anything out there that's going to like take the position of like the feeling of riding bikes and doing all this crazy stuff. And once I got in a drift car, thankfully it did it for me. So
yeah, can you give me the story about how your Mark IV Supra kind of led to you getting into drifting?
I wouldn't say that really led me into getting into drifting. I mean, I should just do a lot of burnouts in it, but yeah, I wouldn't say it really led me into getting into drifting. I always wanted to do it. It just wasn't really realistic at the time. And when COVID came around, I ended up seeing a Pro-Am car that was for sale, which was my 240. It was LS car, made 400 horsepower, Wisefab front rear. Mm-hmm. And I ended up buying that car and just going to some parking lots. And there's a local drifter. His name's Tyler Berry. I don't know if you've heard of him. Mm-hmm. And he was like, dude, I'm doing this Clutch Kicker series. It's like the biggest payout, biggest event in like the US right now. Anyone can sign up. You want to go? And I was like, yeah, let's go. I ended up signing up for it. Literally, I had the car for 6 months. I've never tandemed with anyone. I did like a couple of local East 10 events in parking lots. And we ended up going to Clutch Kickers. I remember pulling in and like Alicana. I didn't know these guys, but like Alicanadale was there and like this huge rig, crazy car, and like a bunch of people, just insane cars. I was like, what did I get myself into? And I remember getting on the line and Brandon Wicknick, and I was like, hey, man, like, you mind if I chase you? And he was like, yeah. It was like, it's my first time. And
Jesus.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty wild experience. But we ended up qualifying, I think, like top 20, which was decent. There was 84 drivers, so it was pretty packed. And we ended up getting knocked out of top 64 with Ryan Acevedo, which is a good buddy now. And we ended up coming back for the next one. I ended up getting a top 16. And it was a top 64 bracket, which was pretty awesome. And I was getting a lot of hype and publicity there. And then I ended up blowing the car up the last round. And it was hard to get parts in. I didn't have any connections. I didn't really know anyone. And I ended up seeing the RTS E46 for sale. It was Ricky Adams' old car from like, I think 2016 or 17 he had it, that Rick built. And I ended up buying that car, drove that a lot in the wintertime. And we came to Clutch Kickers the next year. That was 2022. And first round of clutch kickers at the Freedom Factory, I ended up getting third place, which was huge for me. I mean, that was insane. I got to battle LZ and all those guys, and everything just kind of clicked at that event. And then we came back for the next round of clutch kickers. I got second place. That was the battle you were talking about earlier with Nate Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Threw it all the way in the finals. And we also did Pro-Am that year. So
yeah, the battle with LZ was kind of, that's when you more or less came to my attention, because it was one of those, like, it started to kind of get around. They're like, yeah, this kid's been drifting for like a year and he just took out LZ. And everyone's like,
I didn't take him out. I almost did.
Well, almost took it out. Sorry. I mean, kept up with LZ. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it was like, that was one of those moments where it like started to hit my radar and like my, gossip mill and rumor mill. And I'm like, who the hell is this kid? And then I think it was like Hurst who's like, oh, I know who he is. And I was like, yeah, okay, we know everybody. So, and then it was just, it kind of went from there. But
that's funny though, you say that, because this weekend we did the E-Town Gambler and some kid came up to me. He's like, dude, like, I didn't even know who you were. Like, where'd you come from? He's like, I've been watching all your stuff recently and stuff. It's wild how fast everything clicked together.
Yeah, I think it all has led up to this though. I mean, just your background in moto, obvious, like, tremendous lack of fear. You've put together a really, really good program. You've partnered yourself with a lot of really good brands and figured it out. And then I also think you're very self-critical in a positive way, where where your mistakes are, where the problems are, where the improvements need to be. And instead of just like, everybody gets mad, everybody, gets pissed off when there's a mistake, but instead of just like going off about it, it's like, okay, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be quiet for, a day. And then it's like, okay, we're going to fix this thing, whether it's, program wise, driving wise, car wise, and then it doesn't happen again. And that not happening again is kind of the biggest part of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think like learning from our mistakes. I mean, even last year definitely helped us a lot this year. So
yeah. How much of that is falling on you? Like, I mean, how much of the program are you running right now? Like, what's that structure like?
I mean, me and Andrew work on the car every day, working on the program and stuff. I mean, it's basically full time right now. But yeah, I'm kind of just trying to do everything really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 cars and
until we get to the track. I mean, once the team's there and we're at FD, I kind of just try to concentrate on driving, which is awesome. I got an awesome team. Those guys are great. So.
Do you get any like rituals? Like, do you have any like specific things that you do, when you get to the track, anything like that gets you into a good headspace?
Not really. We kind of just set up and then hang out, grill some food, look over the car one more time and hang out, really just try to relax.
By the way, I mean, if you even get within 10 feet of your pit area, someone is trying to feed you the whole time.
Always. So. Always got the steaks on there for sure.
Always got the steaks on the go.
Yeah, some of the best steak around.
Dude, every time I'll smell the barbecue light up and I'm like, I should probably go wander and say hi, see what's going on.
Let me get a little bite of that.
Oh, man. So you obviously have a deep love for the S chassis and now in the BMW. What are your thoughts on both chassis? Where are you standing in this? Like, what do you think the benefits and the drawbacks of these are?
I mean, they're very different chassis. I go back and forth. One day I'm like, yeah, I want to build an S chassis for next year. Sometimes I want to build an E46 for next year. I drive the S chassis really good, and my chases are really on point in the S chassis, and I think I really struggle with that in the E46. And I kind of just been fighting the E46 for a while, but once we got to New Jersey this year, the car was just, we made a couple changes, and the car is just on rails, and it feels really good. So I'm thinking we might stay with E46. I'm not really sure. It's kind of something we have to discuss after Utah, but.
What do you, is there like any particular chassis things that like that would allude to that? Obviously the BMWs are known for a ton of forward bite, whereas, the S chassis can kind of be a little bit more loose.
For sure. I mean, it's kind of hard to compare because the BMW makes 700 and the 240 makes like 440. But the 240 weighs 2,500 pounds. It's got a dog box and a Winters. So, I mean, it's still a solid car and it keeps up with 700 horsepower cars. Mm-hmm. They're just very different. It's kind of hard to compare them.
Oh yeah. I've never driven them at that kind of high of a level. I just have to go off of what the cars seem to kind of look like in motion. But you're one of a few people I know of that drive both of them at high levels. So I wasn't sure if you where your, I guess, allegiance is, but it sounds like you're pretty mixed on it.
Yeah, I'm still mixed on it. I mean, I haven't driven a like 700 horsepower 240 yet. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably end up staying with the E46. It's just, the car is just really, really fast, and I'm happy with it. So, and once we did all the FDF stuff this year, it's just really changed things around. So,
yeah, that was a pretty noticeable difference. The car just looks so fast. I mean, it's crazy how quick it is on the 255s.
Yeah, no, it feels really good. And when we talked to Josiah this winter, he said if we were going to run the FDF stuff, he was going to develop a rear kit for us. So right now we're the only people on with the E46 with the FDF rear grip kit, which is pretty cool. And it's definitely held up. I mean, it's taken some hits. We haven't broken anything on it, and I'm really happy with the way it feels. So,
damn, is there an inherent risk involved with trying to like demo a kit for somebody? Like,
yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of, you don't really know how it's gonna really work and how durable it's gonna be. But I mean, Josiah's a driver also, and he put a lot of time into it, and I trust him. And I mean, it's worked out great. And I know Dylan Hughes and all those guys are trying to get on the grip kit now. So
slowly, yeah. I mean, it's one of those like hold that back as long as you can, right? Well, I mean,
right.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan's in pro, so it's not a huge deal. But
yeah, for sure, exactly.
Yeah,
So it's not a huge deal. But
no,
next year,
yeah, just friendly.
Maybe.
But yeah, next year maybe. Yeah, I guess like what. You talked about, you obviously need to have a discussion and stuff like that. Like what things, I guess, need to be discussed in order to make that jump to pro? Is that a budget, a time thing, a new car thing?
I don't think the time thing's a huge deal because, I mean, we're running 30 events this year. So I think that'll be all right. I just got to see, I mean, if all the crew guys are in, if they want to do, I mean, it's a lot of time. 8 weekend. I mean, it's usually 4 or 5 days, each FD event. And, it's a lot of time away from their families and stuff. So, and then another huge thing is sponsorships. I mean, if I can get someone that'll really help us out next year, it's going to make my decision a lot easier. So, yeah,
that's a solid point. I mean, at the end of the day, it unfortunately always comes down to the budget and the money side of things. Like it's not easy. It's not a cheap. I mean, it's funny. It is a cheap motorsport in comparison to a lot of other motorsports.
Right.
But yeah, it's still not cheap.
Right. And I feel like a lot of the teams are, I mean, it's out of their own pocket and they're kind of doing their own thing. It's not like a factory team like you would see in like F1 or NASCAR and stuff like that, where they have unlimited budgets and stuff. So,
yeah, that's always an interesting conversation because, like Dean Carney is a big proponent of making it more franchise based when it comes to the teams, closer to what you see in Moto. And then there's other drivers as well. Dean's just the one that comes to mind, but a lot of other people very much enjoy the freedom of like, you can do whatever you want to do.
Right. Which is nice.
Yeah. So I guess like, where are you in those camps?
What was that?
I said, where do you kind of fall within those opinions or decisions? Like obviously seeing both sides of it from being involved in both sports. Like, do you think we should run factory teams, or are you?
I mean, I think factory teams would be awesome. I mean, I feel like right now RTR is the closest one to that, and Papadakis maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's cool having like privateer kind of style. I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, just being able to kind of do.
I mean, I think in the next 10 years, if it went to like factory teams, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it would be. I mean, it would. I want to see more money in the sport. I mean,
yeah, for sure. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's what we all need. I think the drivers need it, the teams, and
yeah, that'd be pretty sick. Like if BMW did step in, it was like, yeah, we're gonna have a 4-car team and all brand new BMWs and
yeah, because I mean, I think Ford's really the only one doing that right now, right?
Yeah, I don't know what Nissan's like official involvement is with Chris, but obviously like he's got deep ties to it. I don't know if that's like a zero VIN chassis kind of thing, or if it's like. He just gets a really good discount or something. I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I mean, really all that we can do is see. Is there any other chassis that you've looked at outside of those two, or like one that you wish you could jump into, maybe if it was more competitive?
Not really, just because those chassis are so proven. I mean, I think there's definitely better looking cars. I think like if I got to pick any car, like the way it looked would probably be like the F22 Eurofighter BMW. I think that's the best looking drift car. Or even like an MK5 Supra. great looking car, but I think people are still working on setups and stuff, and they're just not proven yet.
Yeah.
They're still so new. So,
I mean, they're obviously competitive, but it's so hard to beat, an S chassis or an E46 where you've got years
there's so much
and years
development
and
and
years.
stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I do like the new Supras. I mean, in drift format. Stock, I'm like, I
agree, exactly. In stock, not a huge fan of them, but like Simon Olsen's car,
bro.
great looking car.
Still one of, I would still say.
But then you see him getting the S
cars.
chassis, and it's like he's a totally different driver, you know?
Yeah.
He absolutely shreds in that S14.
And what's kind of neat though, too, is that the confidence he's built in the S chassis now
has transferred over to the Supra.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, just seeing how he's driven in Europe now, I'm like, bro, like you.
I haven't seen much of that. I was just comparing it from the previous years in FD, but I remember last year, Simon Olsen, completely flipped the switch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he struggled in the Supra. I mean, he's obviously somebody I know quite well, but like, I'll be the first person to tell him he didn't drive very well in that car.
He went LS, that's it.
He went LS. Yeah. I mean, I do think there's something to it. Like, I do like turbos, but it's very hard to deny what you can do with just a giant engine.
For sure. Right when I got into drifting, I really wanted a JZ car. I just love the turbo noises. I just love the way they sound.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm into it, I'm happy I went LS, and I will probably be staying LS or V8 anyways. Those NASCAR motors are pretty sweet.
This is true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Would you want to go, like if you're going NASCAR, would you want to go NA with nitrous or stick with forced induction?
Last year I really wanted to switch to a blower for this year, and we ended up just putting more spray on it, and I'm really happy with it. So I think even if we do move up next year, I think I'm just going to do a bigger motor with more spray.
Nice. That would be nasty.
I've just seen so many people just get knocked out of competition from losing a belt, and it's just not problems I want to deal with. Yeah, I mean, you also see it with nitrous as well.
I was just going to say, you see nitrous solenoids, so...
You do.
Yeah. I feel like there's got to be some redundancy that you can build with those nitrous solenoids, though. And this isn't like a knock against RTR or anything. It's just like...
Yeah, I've heard there's a couple of them out there that are just unbreakable almost.
Yeah. I don't know enough to be like, you just run a splitter with a completely separate system, and I don't know how that would work, but...
Yeah.
It's got to be something.
Yeah.
It's sad that like somebody could be taken out by a solenoid or a belt.
Right. I know. It's always the little things too.
Yeah. But also drifting is such a unique wear and tear on cars, right?
Right. I mean, I think we're absolutely thrashing these things. I think it's the most abuse a car can get. I mean, compared to any kind of racing, we're literally just trying to kill these cars.
Yeah. And I mean, just the amount that we're on and off throttle and clutch kicking, like there's just, development's caught up really quick, but it's still not where we need it to be.
Like I've always ridden bikes and driven cars like that, but everything breaks. And I'm like, once I got into drifting, I'm really surprised like how strong all these parts are and how well the cars handle the abuse.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that you drive, or at least did drive, like you drove a motorcycle, like in the same way you use throttle control?
For sure, 100%. I mean, even like, especially coming from stunt riding, I think that was the biggest thing more than motocross. Like handbrake and like throttle control and all that stuff, I think transferred over really well.
Is that just because you're utilizing a lot of foot brake and throttle at the same time to keep the bike in position? Or I don't know. I don't know jack about stunt riding. So
yeah, I mean, like if you're doing like circle wheelies or like standing on the seat or like you got your feet over the bars or something, you have a handbrake. So it's dual caliper, similar to the car. And obviously when you lock that up, you need to pull the clutch in, and throttle control is really huge too. So, but yeah, I think that stuff really helped me out more than anything.
So you have a rear brake on the handles then as well?
Yeah, on the street bikes we do. On like Harleys and dirt bikes and stuff, if you're standing on the seat, it's just all throttle control. So
damn. Okay. I did ride bikes previously, but I never rode stunt bikes, so I didn't realize that like you had because I always think rear brake is right foot.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that
you
there
have
was
both.
Like, finger control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, big sprockets, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, just to interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's super sick shit. There's no way I could ever do it, but I obviously don't know a ton about it.
Yeah, I don't miss getting hurt. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. You've had a couple of good hits though in the car. Like obviously no comparison though to
no comparison. Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, like you said, with age comes a cage.
Yep. Got that one from my dad.
And you've dabbled in a few other motorsports over the years as well. I know you've been on four wheels a few times. What are your thoughts going into? I think it was Porsche Cup stuff you did. At least a couple of. Was it
Never.
a Ferrari Challenge?
No.
What? I thought you ran like a demo in one of those cars.
No, I was supposed to last year with a team, True Speed, out in California. Ended up falling through. But yeah, I was going to go out there and do some racing, but ended up not working out. So
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
unfortunately, I'd love to get behind the wheel of one of those things.
Yeah. I would be very curious. It's always cool to see how well drift drivers do in grip cars. Like,
Yeah, and I think it's very different. I mean, when you're driving and let's say you're driving 30 laps, you make one mistake and you have another 29 laps to recover from that. In drifting, we have 30 seconds to be absolutely perfect. So I think that's, it's a huge mental game in Formula Drift, I think.
yeah, it's cool how you light up when you talk about that, though. Like you're literally getting more excited the more challenge you're talking about, which is really, really interesting. just like living life on hard mode.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get you drivers. I really don't. Like I
think we all got a couple
have
loose
it.
screws.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think that's like the baseline just to even drive at this kind of level.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's on edge all the time.
Yeah. Is it hard to come down from that? Like, is it hard to like go back to real life and not have that adrenaline rush for,
No,
you know,
sometimes I get in my truck and I'm like, nah, this isn't it. This isn't it.
this isn't it. Look, FD has some absolutely incredible merch. And to add to that, they now have this. Yes, that is right. You can look a little bit more like me. I don't want you to look completely like me. That would just be weird. But if you head over to shopfd.com or check out the link down below, you can get your very own teal toque. Comes with sticker, comes with super cool packaging. Yes, I'm hidden somewhere in there. Lots of fun references back to the show and my Canadian roots. And those stickers, different rarities. So you might be the person that gets the 1 in 500 gold toque. Head over to shopfd.com. Use podcast24. Save yourself 20%. I think about, have you ever watched the movie The Hurt Locker?
I have not.
Okay. Long story short, dude's like a bomb disposal tech in Iraq and then has to like come home and he's like in the grocery store just like getting groceries and you can see him like going crazy because he's like, this is the most boring shit ever.
Right.
And that's what I think of with you guys where it's like.
Yeah, we go to the grocery stores and we just take the grocery carts and just slide them around, wall drag, knock a cereal box over or something.
Yeah, it's like using the aisles as clipping points and making engine noises all the way through.
Yep.
Oh man. So what are you up to when you're not drifting? Obviously you're working on the car quite a lot. Are you still riding any stunt riding stuff?
No, not really. Not really riding too much these days. I got a little grandma. I'll mess around in the neighborhood once in a while, but it's basically just working here in the shop and driving on the weekends really as much as I can.
That's wild. You're driving the rig a fair bit too?
Yeah. Yep, we drive that thing everywhere. So,
jeez. What's your go-to for road tripping? Like, what's the go-to snack? Go-to gas station?
Jalapeno poppers. They're like, have you seen those?
Yeah, I know what they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're not even spicy. They're really good. They're like maybe a little bit spicier than just like a Cheeto, the Cheeto Puffs. Yeah, they're pretty good. And a lot of Red Bulls. We drink a lot of Red Bulls.
A lot of Red Bulls. What? Hang on. Like, are you talking about like the deep fried jalapeno popper with like cream cheese in the middle?
No, No.
Okay.
It's like a bag of chips. They're like Cheeto Puffs, except they're jalapeno poppers. Only some gas stations have them though, so they're hard to get. So when we do find them, we buy like 20 bags.
I haven't seen those. I thought you meant like actual, like you're like stopping at like a Sheetz gas station and getting deep fried jalapeno poppers.
None of that.
Like, bro.
None of that. I will bring you a bag for Utah.
All right.
You have to try them out.
Yeah, I'll keep. Well, hey, dude, like I said, I'm driving down to Florida this weekend, so I'll keep an eye out. Are they? Do you know if do they have them at Love's? That's usually.
Yeah, I think usually Love's and like Flying J or is it Flying J's? Yeah.
Yeah.
They usually have them over there. So.
All right, if I find some, I'll make sure.
Yeah, let me know how they are.
Yeah, Red Bull, and jalapeno popper chips.
Yeah, great combo.
Yeah, that's
and some Zins.
it's not my thing.
I hear you.
But hey, if it's got to keep you awake, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Is there any series right now in the US that like you're not driving in that you would like to outside of FD or like other series run?
I want to do the LZ Invitational.
Okay.
I remember you hit me up for the Canada one, but it was like like 4
super
days
last
before.
minute.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we weren't able to make that. We were also going to do DMCC in Canada this year.
Yeah.
But it overlapped with 2 PROSPEC events. We wanted to do the whole series. So that didn't work out. We ended up not running that season.
I mean,
but-
you're kind of getting a bit of one now going against Tommy. So you're getting like the best of DMCC.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
in your
And a
own
couple of those
competition.
guys come to the E-Town Gambler, like when we were on the stadium and stuff, like Sebastian Gutierrez and all those guys come out. So it's fun to drive with those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, he's an ex-pro driver. I think he only did
Yeah.
1 season in pro, but did quite well
Yeah.
in PROSPEC.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like I don't want to call it a rivalry because I know you and Tommy are maybe not buddies, but like at least like friendly. Like it's not like there's any hatred there, but I do very much like the fact that it's like 2 points going into Utah, you know, opposite sides of the bracket. Like it's built up quite well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think if everything goes as planned and we end up meeting each other in the finals, it's going to be a crazy battle. He's a ripper, and it's nice to chase someone that you have confidence in, and you can kind of just put it all on the table. So I'm excited for that. But if we do go against each other, it's going to be a good one for sure.
Bro, it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We've all been talking about it.
Oh, I know. I don't think they've released brackets yet. I mean, obviously we know parts of it just based on seating and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be curious to see how it all ends up playing out.
And you never know. I mean, it's drifting, so
that's
we'll
the
see what
crazy
happens.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the best and worst thing because it's created some of the coolest battles we've ever seen, but it's also like stripped us of really good battles. Because
it was like seeing like Osbo and Conor Shanahan, and
Dude.
what was it, top
It's like top
32 in
60.
New Jersey? I think it was 32.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember. I know it was early. It was either top 32.
That
or
was
top
like
16.
literally a finals run. Insane.
Yeah. I remember looking at it and I said to Jared, I'm like, bro, what do we do? Because like we're peaking at the start of the show. I'm like, how do we like keep this energy? He's like,
And then you got to come back down.
oh man, it was nuts though. But it's cool to see. I mean, obviously what he's doing, Manoa's doing, what you and Tommy are doing. Like we're in a really cool place with young drivers right now. It's really, really neat.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of young drivers and people that have not been drifting for too long that are absolute shredders.
Why do you think that is? Like, obviously we point to the sim. That's like easy.
Who knows? And I honestly, like, I feel like you kind of have to point at the sim because, I mean, Manoa and I think Cole Richards started on the sim too, I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's definitely been working out for those guys.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I do think some of it's just the fact that we have so many notes now on like you can jump into a car that's ready to go. You can go on the internet and print off a parts list and have an FD car ready to go.
Right.
Obviously you have to build it. Like
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
You should see me play the sim though. It's not good.
No?
Not good. No, I'm not good at the sim. That's why I try to drive every weekend, stay off this thing. But it does help me like going to FD events, just like kind of learning the layout and stuff, especially last year when all these tracks I've never driven on. Mm-hmm. I think that was the biggest thing, but yeah, I am garbage on a sim. Not great.
So what are your thoughts going into Utah? I know it's a track that you like driving. What do you have a plan of attack with this or anything?
I mean, we didn't do good there last year. We double zeroed. I had a bent subframe, so we did not qualify, unfortunately. But yeah, it was one of my favorite tracks, and I was on fire in practice. I felt amazing, and we're gonna go test there in 2 weeks with everyone else, and hopefully we get the car dialed, and we'll be ready for Utah.
Sick. So that gets in, just before the window, right?
Yeah, I think it's like one of the last days. I know a bunch of guys are going to test then, so.
Yeah. And for anybody listening, like there's a window that you're allowed to run the FD track.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks before the event you cannot drive.
Yeah. Double check that before you go. Like you want to be like you imagine like everybody gets the date wrong and there's like 8 drivers that all
right. Well, yeah, I think there's at least 10 drivers from FD that are going. So.
Jeez.
Yep.
I do really like Utah. Like not just for the track, but like facility people, everything is great.
And the scenery is insane. The mountains in the background, like
Bro.
the pictures that you get there are so crazy.
You can't take a bad photo there.
You can't. It's hard.
No.
Yeah,
And like
it's
the
definitely
weather's
tough.
nice. The only thing that sucks is the like 5 a.m. start time.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. And the ride out there, it's like a 10-minute golf cart ride.
Bro, oh
It's a
yeah, to
hike.
get it to hot pits?
Yeah. I heard a couple of guys last year, they walked over there. I was like, dude, that probably took you an hour and a half.
So yeah, when I shot media there 2 years ago, and it was like to walk from hot pits like back to the grandstand was like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it is a long go, but
Yeah, it is.
it's, I don't know, it's so sick.
But
And
yeah,
like
I mean,
even,
the-
yeah.
Here we
Just
go.
returning back is cool because you get to run the actual track
Yeah,
layout,
right.
Yeah. So you're
Just
like a truck or
racing
support car.
through there.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Yeah, no, it's super cool.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, the track layout is sweet. I mean, it's literally full throttle almost the whole entire track, and it's, I would say, over 110 mile an hour entry,
Yeah.
roughly. So
I don't know if they're going to change the layout this year. I've talked so much about them running it backwards, which I think would be
I remember
sick,
you were
but-
talking about that last year too. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
Let it
I
go.
think they should. I think they should run it the regular way. I think that entry is sweet, but
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, it could be sick backwards too.
Yeah, I know they changed where the inner clip was as well, and one of the outside zones. So
Right.
it seemed to have gone over well. The drivers seemed to like it, but I don't know if that's something that'll stick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people in PROSPEC anyways struggled to stay on that outside too. I mean, it's a really big turn. So
It's a big stretch. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the layer right there. So
oh, there you go. Yep.
I try to line up my backgrounds with the tracks that we're going to.
Going
next.
to
It's
next,
not always,
yeah.
I don't always get it right, but I try.
Nice.
Like the small little tidbits.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I'm
But yeah, the weather's gonna be
pretty
nice
pumped.
there. I mean, that's huge too. Just for like being on grid and being in the car when it's real. Like New Jersey was brutal. I think we took the heat gun in my car. The floors were like 155 degrees. It was insane.
Do you
And,
run a cool suit?
I do. I have a cool shirt.
Cool shirt.
Yeah, and that helps a lot. I mean, it's still really hot, but it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I didn't have that, we'd have some issues. For sure.
There's lots of drivers that don't. They don't want to put the weight in the
And
car.
I didn't have it for a while. And then last year we got one for I think it was, I didn't have one in Atlanta round 1, but round 2 in Jersey I had one. It was night and day difference. So
Yeah.
I couldn't go back now. No way.
Got spoiled.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if any. Yeah. I
Oh, they got the pants and everything too. I've been looking at them.
really?
I don't know if I want to deal with all that, but it does sound pretty nice.
Damn, pants would be good.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could just do it into the seat. I think is it James Dean's seat? Somebody's got a seat that's like, it's FIA approved, but it's like almost mesh all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
wanna
I haven't
say
seen
it's
that.
James's. I'm gonna have to figure this. I have to
Yeah, it sounds
remember.
pretty cool though.
It's James or Stookie because those were the two cars that I like.
Probably
sat
Stookie.
in.
He's got like a heated windshield and stuff. He's got
Bro,
all
that thing
bougie
is
stuff.
nuts. that heated windshield
It
is
is.
pretty wild.
Yeah. I remember Casey was showing me like the whole car when we were out at Long Beach, and it's unreal. That car's really well done.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool to see Casey as like one of the next big up and coming builders. Like I almost feel bad saying
It's like
he's
even
up
like
and
the
coming.
little things they do on the car are just like so nice.
Bro, like the
I was like, let me take a
tan-
picture of everything.
I know. I took a lot. My phone's full of photos from that tech inspection.
Yeah.
But like even like the tan Rhino liner inside where they just, like it looks cool. It, you can grip in the car. Like,
Right. And I'm
Just-
sure it's not going to get beat up either.
yeah. Yeah. Although that car's already taken a couple of hits this year. So
Yeah.
but that's
That's
I mean,
part
that's
of
drift
it.
car.
It's
Yeah.
the game, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any like cool trick stuff in that car that you're like, maybe, we don't have to get into like rule book bending things, but like anything in here you're like, this is actually pretty sick that like I wish more people would notice?
Not really. Honestly, my car is very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Just
Which I
basic.
think makes it so much better, having a simple car.
I do think we have a tendency to go too far on certain things. Like anything that moves, like the moment you start adding more things that move, that's more things that could break.
Right, for sure. 100%.
I do like the sensors that a lot of guys are getting into now. I'm a big fan of like the data logging side of things, and I think that's added a lot to it.
Yep.
But also you can't rely on sensors all the time because sensors
Yeah.
break.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think especially in Pro 1, I think that stuff's very useful for sure too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of teams are doing it, and it helps out a lot.
I've seen a lot more tire temp sensors in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Where
none of that.
No, nothing.
I don't.
Just purely by gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a burnout box routine?
Yeah. I mean, I just go in and understeer as hard as I can, scrub the fronts really, really hard, and kind of just get the grease off the rear tires. Just burn them out on the way out, and that's basically it.
Okay.
Try to have as much tire left. I mean, I don't like brake stand the crap out of the car, but I mean, I see some guys in the burnout box that are just really just heating up the rears a lot, and I think the fronts are really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think it would be nice to see if we could update regulations on fronts. I would be very curious to see if we changed what tread wear was allowed in fronts as keep the rears the way they are, but allow some of these crazy 140 tread wear sticky boys or something, or have GT come out with a really.
I actually have a
tire.
higher tread wear in my front than I do in the rear. I run the 235s in the front.
Okay. Yeah, I you're not alone in that. I know a fair bit.
Yeah, I mean, we tried the 255s in the front, and I just didn't like it. Couldn't seem to get it figured out. So,
is that more just couldn't get the alignment correct? You were hitting on things, or you just felt
no, it wasn't hitting on anything. The car just didn't feel the same. It felt a lot better on 235s. I think you just need to put. I think you might just need to put a lot more heat on the 255s than the 235s.
Oh, okay.
From the RS to the non-RS.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Because that's what I've heard. A lot of people say if you don't heat up the RSs in the front, it's pretty tough and it understeers a lot. So,
and my thought was going on a 235, you would have more understeer, but I guess you're able to heat them up quicker, so your actual grip level is better.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have understeer problems in that car, so the 235 has been working out great, and I run those on the 240 and the E46.
Nice. So what would it take you then to build a 240 for Pro? I
don't know. It might happen. Who knows?
I'm trying to get
There's
something
a lot
out of here,
that can happen in the off season. So
there's probably 2 chassis sitting in your garage right now, just a BMW shell and an S chassis shell, and you're just I
do have an E46 chassis in the garage. I don't have an S chassis in the garage. I haven't. Keep my eyes open. I go on Marketplace once in a while, see what I can find, but
are they still ridiculously expensive?
What, the S chassis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely more expensive than an E46. You can find E46s for $500.
Yeah.
So,
I sold my wagon for $1,300. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy how cheap those E46s have gotten.
Yeah, it's.
But it is. I feel like it is the new drift car, and I think it's going to be what the 240 is doing. I think it's going to go up in price eventually. I mean, once everyone's got E46s and the development is there, like the S14s and stuff, it's going to turn into the same thing.
And then what? It'll be E92s after that. We'll do the same thing.
Hey, they don't have the trailing arm though, so I don't know.
That's a good point.
That's a good
point. Is there any BMW left with a trailing arm?
Nope. Just E36 and E46, I believe.
That's it.
Hey, if F22 had a trailing arm, that's what I would be driving next year. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I wonder if there's any way to get around that rule. I don't think there is, because you're changing stock pickup points at that point.
Yeah, you're better off just putting an F22 body kit on an E46, which we may do. We may do it.
That'd be sick. I mean, hey, we know how much you like BMWs. We know how much you like that body kit. So
yeah,
that was just a gigantic, bored out, stroked out LS and more nitrous than anybody else is running. And I think that's what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Early prediction. Bro, you're going to need a full fill station at the trailer at some point.
Yeah, we have a fill station. We're just going to have to bring 3 or 4 mother bottles,
Yeah. How much nitrous do you run through in a weekend?
Usually, so we bring 6 bottles that are full, and then we bring a mother bottle, and we usually use the whole mother bottle. So
Jesus,
that's about it. But since we're going to go test in Utah early, we're also going up from, we've been running a 100 shot all year. And we're actually tuning it tomorrow on a 200 shot. So we'll probably bring up another mother bottle just in case, just to have it.
Yeah. Is that just to fight the altitude?
Yeah. I know the car's going to be down on power a little bit. So I'd rather have more than not have enough. So
yeah, rather be looking at it than looking for it.
Yeah, we can always put it down to another, or we can drop it to a 100 shot from a 200 shot if we need to. But
yeah,
I think it'll work out well.
Yeah. Any fear like tuning it at that level? Like that's a big jump, man.
I mean, we got our motors from Late Model Engines. Those guys are awesome over there. They told me I could spray it all the way up to a 300 shot. So
Jesus.
I'm not nervous. I think we'll be all right. Those guys build some really gnarly motors. So
Yeah. And it's not a company that you hear a lot about, but obviously a lot of prestige there, like doing what they've done for
sure, a lot of
numerous
drag
years.
racing and stuff and street car stuff.
Yeah.
And we actually put that engine in right before round 2 in New Jersey. In Atlanta, we still had an iron block. So we did we switched to a Concept Performance LSR aluminum block. So we saved about like 130 pounds there. And then we put a lightweight lithium battery in, which saved like 40 pounds, which is pretty crazy. So we were like 200 pounds lighter going into round 2 in Jersey. So I think that helped a lot also.
Is that something you can noticeably feel? Like,
I think so. I mean, my 240 weighs 2,500 pounds, and that car is just like flick it around, no problem. The car feels so good. And the BMW felt really good at New Jersey. So I think that might have been it.
Yeah. I mean, could be. I mean,
I know it doesn't sound like a lot,
human.
but
That's a whole human, man.
Yeah.
That's. I would like to say it's me, but I'm probably nosing a little higher than 200 right now. So it's been a long summer, man. A lot of travel.
Got to eat good.
Yeah, it's a problem, but I gotta get my Florida body soon.
You got to stop coming by my pit, stealing all the steaks.
Bro, 100%. It's like I'm blaming your family for making me fat. That's what's going on here. It'll happen again.
They'll do it to you.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for it. So
Yep.
it'll definitely happen again.
For sure.
Oh man. It's cool to see your progression in the sport and what all has happened. I mean, it's neat to see how hard work and effort directly pays off, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so easy just to like gloss over them. Like, yeah, you work hard, you get far. But like, I think just how short of time that you've been driving years wise, but the amount of effort you put in that time and how quick it's gotten is proof.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a few drivers out there that have similar situations, but for the most part, I mean, you see guys that have been driving for 10 years that we're driving against. So it is pretty crazy how fast we have developed a team and how far I've came as a driver. And
yeah, it just seat time. I mean, we talk about it so much,
it is.
right?
It's huge. I think that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you're driving against incredible drivers too. It's not like you're just going out to no name events and crushing people. You're like running the gambler. I mean, that alone, right. It draws so many super talented drivers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we get like Chelsea DeNova out there, Dirk Stratton, my spotter Christian Nelson comes out there. So
oh really?
We get a bunch of good laps in there and parties. So
it's got to
be the gambler's always a good event.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to drive with your spotter.
Yeah, for sure. He actually took me out this past weekend. So.
Oh, he did he?
He did.
Damn. Oh, bro, the shit talk is real.
We went into the finals and Andrew was like, dude, just like put it on him as hard as you can. Like, see what your limits are. Right? We're going into Utah. If I'm going to lose to anyone, it's going to be to Christian. So whatever. I'll take it. But yeah, I made a mistake and basically went like 3 tires off track or something. But
just pushing too hard.
They were the sickest battles. So like we were just on each other's door, like horns out the window, dude. It was sick.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, for sure. They actually didn't have a live stream this past weekend, unfortunately.
Oh, what the heck? Maybe
and it was the one event they didn't have a live stream. So,
man,
I'm sure we'll have some media out though.
Most of these events, like I'll turn on notifications and like I won't always know when they're happening, but I'll get the notification. I'm like, shit, like I'll turn it on. But maybe that's why. I guess that's why I missed this one.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and then we're leading the championship points in the unlimited class also there. So pretty
cool. Be cool. Yeah. Have you put any thoughts about like similar to what like Josiah is doing and doing a jump over to Europe? Like, is that?
I have.
Okay.
I have thought about it.
Yeah.
I actually really want to go to Poland to go watch the last round this year. But yeah, it's definitely something I want to do in the future. I mean, that the style of driving and even the fans over there, the track layouts they run, the drivers, it's super cool. So that's definitely something I want to do.
Yeah, that'd be. I want to see obviously like schedules for next year as soon as they come out. Like,
right.
There's provisional dates for FD already. I haven't heard anything.
Hopefully stuff doesn't overlap, but we'll see.
Yeah, it sounds like they're very much trying not to. Like, there's no benefit in them overlapping.
Right. Especially when you have drivers competing in both series.
Yeah, which we have what? 3?
Yeah, what is it?
3?
LZ, Shanahan, and
James.
Oh, and James, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody else. No, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Absolutely.
I really
wild
want to do the Oman series too. I think that's
go.
really cool. And it's like
because that's in like January, right?
Yeah, I think it's in February, and it's 3 weekends in a row. So I mean, you can go out there for basically a month and do a whole season right before our season starts. So,
damn. Well,
Yeah.
you let me know if you're gonna go. I'll put my hat in. Maybe they need another announcer, and
yeah,
you
That would
and I
be
and
cool.
Oman could be dangerous together, though. That's a little worrisome.
probably.
Yeah. Well, you'll be like the next viral dude out in the G-Wagon throwing it up on 2 wheels and
No, they're like the Honda Civics, the front wheel drive ones, where they're just like,
oh yeah,
100 miles an hour, just backwards. Yeah, those
whipping
guys are crazy.
360s and yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Definitely got to get linked up with those guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say like,
We'll
yeah,
have
like,
a good time.
The drifting's cool, but like this is the stuff I actually came here to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
This is
you'll
my
definitely-
excuse, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I very much think you'll need a chaperone with you at all
yeah,
times
for sure.
if you go
Yep.
out there. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Adult supervision will be required.
Yeah, most definitely.
man.
Could get bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody else is doing it, so
Yeah. Why not? You'll have to come with us.
I might have to. I might twist my rubber arm on that one.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I guess like any other changes, either coming up to the car or anything else that's going on. I mean, you've got a pretty good rig and RV situation, so I think that's pretty dialed. It sounds like a new chassis one way or another next year, whether it is E46 or S chassis.
Yeah,
but-
for sure. This chassis has been ran 3 years, and she's definitely tired. So even if we do stay in PROSPEC, I think we're gonna have to go to another chassis regardless. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll definitely be building a car this winter.
So let's say hypothetically you do stick BMW. What are things that are in your car right now where you're like, we immediately need to change that?
Honestly, not much. The car is super solid. Yep, and then we changed a lot of the stuff in the front and rear, like bash bar wise, and some of the metal work because we basically totaled the car at Long Beach earlier this year.
Yeah.
So
Great debut. I mean,
yeah, for sure. And, I'm happy I got that out of the way. So if we do move up, it's gonna be nice to have some seat time at that track. And Long Beach was a little rough for us. I made my first lap out there, and I had an oil leak and a brake failure. So I basically missed all of practice. And my second lap out, I was leading Hurst. And I kind of got into it was super slick on the outside because they were running the Grand Prix there. So I think they were just pushing all the marbles to the outside line, that's where we run. So it was basically ice skates. And my first run out, I was mid-track, obviously. It's Long Beach. You're not going to just absolutely send it the first run out.
Yeah.
And the car, it was really gripped up. So I was like, wow, this track's pretty grippy. And my second run out, I was on the wall. So it was super slick. And I knew I was going into the wall with the back end. So I kind of just tried holding it wide open, trying to get out of the way, not like get in front of Cash. And I ended up swinging around like 360, brought the front end into the wall and basically tweaked the frame rail like 3 inches into the chassis. So yeah, it wasn't ideal, but we met some awesome people and it was a great event. I mean, Andy Luck, he made some phone calls and we ended up getting the car over to a shop called Sam's Autoland. These guys would not take $1. They were some of the coolest people ever. Andrew basically stayed up all night fabbing stuff up. He went to Home Depot, got some square tube just to make Kevin happy and put a bash bar in the car. And we came back the next day. No front end on it, basically. No hood, no lights. Everything was broken. And we ended up getting second place. So it was definitely a cool weekend.
Yeah, good resurgence on that one for sure.
Very low lows and very high highs for sure. So.
How scary is that track? Is it one of those you get there and you're like, oh shit, there is no room for error?
Yeah, so I came out the week before and I watched Pro 1 and there was a lot of crashes that weekend. So it was definitely pretty crazy. But it's different when you're on the starting line, you're going down that run up, just looking at, you can't see anything. You basically enter and it's like a hallway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely wild. You can't really see much.
It's a good way of putting it, a hallway. Yeah, I don't know if I've heard anybody say it that way in particular, but yeah, it is. And you have to hope that there's just an exit because you're sideways for 2-3 seconds.
And it's funny because I never really have like reference points on tracks, like when to transition or when to enter and stuff. And Long Beach was one track where I really had to do it. And they had like the Grand Prix signs up. So every time I saw that 300-foot mark, I was like, all right, handbrake, let's enter.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Yeah, I need to get better about that stuff. But yeah, that's it really.
I would love to know if you actually do have reference points. You're just not aware of them.
Exactly. I may not be aware of them, but like I'll go to a track and I'll enter at the same spot every single time. It's just muscle memory. It just happens. I don't look for anything. It just, when it feels right, it feels right.
Wish we could get like an eye tracker on you or something to like see where it is you're actually
It's like things
looking.
I don't notice, right?
Yeah. Because I do think there is something to be said about people who come from other motorsports and like that inherent knowledge and situational and vehicle awareness. Like you obviously know your boundaries quite well.
For sure. And I think if you're not thinking about looking at something and you're just automatically doing it, it's even better.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where your driving has improved. It's just that note right there. You're not thinking about it. You're not stressed about it. You're not worried,
Right.
and you're just doing the thing you know how to do.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how you get out of your own head though. Like, do you just like singing to yourself or?
No, sometimes it's tough. And I think I really struggle in like top 32 and top 16 just because we have so much downtime. Like after practice, you have an hour break or whatever it is until the top 32. And then you have a 2-hour break, autograph signings, and it's top 16. But once I get past the top 16 and we're kind of going back to back, like through the top 8 and into the finals or whatever it is, I feel a lot better. I'm fresh. So
I assume you get into a bit of a rhythm too. Like just you get off track.
After 16, you're saying, right?
Yeah. Because, you get off track, you go to the hot pits, you do that, you get out of the car, you take a look, high five dad, and then it's like, okay, right back in. And
things just keep going quicker and quicker. So I think your runs are a lot more consistent that way.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's just getting through those first couple of battles too.
Yep.
And, you're not always battling people that have, the perfect car setup or got a ton of practice. So like there's that maybe lack of confidence in their driving too that you're having to fight.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely tough too. But when you get to go up against another driver that you have confidence in, it's usually a pretty good battle.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, that's where I think you driving Tommy or you driving a lot of the people that
and
are
usually
there,
like when I get in the finals, it's like it's all in. Like we're on the podium. Let's party. Let's have a good run.
Just that.
But I don't
gone.
think it's going to be that way in Utah this year. If it's me and Tommy, it's literally a battle for the championship. So
yeah. Are you going to like watch his runs? Like I don't know.
Honestly,
what you do
I
in these
can't.
situations.
I never do. Like I don't watch the live stream. I don't want to see it. Like even when I go back to the hot pits and all my guys are watching the runs, I was like, I don't want to see it.
Really?
Yeah. I know I could probably get a lot of information on how he drives and stuff, but.
That is not what I would have thought you would say.
Yeah. No.
What are you doing then? You just like on Snapchat the whole time, or
I just hang out, drink water, walk around.
Just
take 30 trips to the bathroom so I don't have to pee when I'm on grid,
Oh, yeah, that's got to be a real issue.
Yeah. Even if I don't have to pee, I go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I've been in the car on grid and there's like a 5-minute timeout or having someone else go, and it's just not something you want to do.
They really do need to have a porta potty like right there.
Yeah.
Atlanta, they used to have
it was
one at the
nice
top
in
of the hill.
St. Louis, like the bathroom was literally right at the starting line. So.
Oh, yeah, because you could, yeah, it's right there.
Yep.
Utah, they'll have to do something. Because Utah is like a weird layout too, because like you like stage and then your burnout's over here and then you come on track kind of thing. Right. Or no, sorry,
Utah,
hot
the
pits
burnout
are
box. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to like loop around and then your burnout box is right before.
Yeah, they need one right there, like on grid.
Yeah, just like right back.
Yeah.
So you can get out of their harness quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bathroom break is part of the event now.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be.
Oh man, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that event.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited for it. And we're in a good spot right now too. So
Yeah. So going out and testing in Utah, like, do you guys run through a gambit of like different suspension things, or are you just going to try and dial in everything?
Will. I mean, since New Jersey, the car felt amazing. We honestly didn't make any suspension setups going into St. Louis, so we're not going to do it again either. We're going to go out there. I think we're trying to just make one change, which is putting the rear sway bar on.
Okay.
We usually never run it, but this is such a big track. I think we're going to have to use it. But hopefully that's it. And a gear change.
So for, I guess, people trying to learn, like, what is the benefit in putting that sway bar in?
It's just not going to have as much forward bite. It'll be able to keep me in the zones, like run a wider line instead of pulling me in and stuff on like a smaller track.
And that's just based on like how it's changing the load from one side to the other.
Right. The car's a lot more gripped up and faster with no rear sway bar.
Right. Because it allows more weight to be put
Transferred
on that outside tire and transfer out.
Right.
Whereas the sway bar will add more to the inside, but then
they kind of work together.
But yeah.
Right. Yep.
Okay. See, I would have thought you want to be as fast as possible, but I guess trying to fill the zones and push the car out.
That is the plan. Hey, if we can run no sway bar, that's what we're going to do. But if we can't have solid, consistent laps, we're going to have to probably put it on. And I think filling the zones, I mean, it's the most important part. So
it's a solid point. I mean, you can run away.
I mean,
from
we're
people,
not out here racing each other. It's not times or,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
as long as you're not getting gapped in the chase.
Solid point. Yeah. And it's not like you can like remotely detach your sway bar.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to read the rules to see if you could. There's got to be a way to have,
5-minute timeout. No.
Yeah, just Sawzall and just cut the end link. So you're like the doing as it springs back. You're like, all right, cool, we're ready.
Yep.
Yeah. So speaking with your like spotter, how do you take notes? What do you ask for? Like, how do they interact with you?
I mean, my biggest thing is I want to know how the guy's going to initiate in his lead. There's a big flick. There's a straight line handbrake. Because that can really mess you up if you're expecting someone to just straight line handbrake and they just do a nasty flick. That almost hurt me in St. Louis with Cody Buchanan.
Okay.
My spotter was like, he does an ignorant flick, and I just didn't think it was that ignorant. And I mean, it was bumper to bumper. I almost hit him, and I would have got knocked out for that. So.
I asked him how he was initiating after, because it's really weird. Like he left foot brake stabs to get the car to rotate around. Yeah.
Yeah, it really choked me up a lot. I'm not really sure, but I think initiation's big for my spotter and how consistent they are. I mean, even some of the rounds this year where my spotter was like, hey, like stay off this person. They haven't been consistent. They've been spinning out. It's like, I can't sacrifice my chase run right now because they're not consistent. I was like, dude, I'm going to chase him. I'm going to put it on his door. So.
Yeah, but I think knowing and watching for a sign that there's an issue allows you to back off, right?
And that also helps me in competition. So if someone does something funky, my reaction time is maybe better if I didn't chase that guy earlier in the day.
Well, you can just be aware, right? Like you can be maybe not less aggressive, but like maybe more hesitant or just
for sure.
If you know
on
that
edge, waiting for something to happen, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You're prepared. You're not. You're prepared for the worst. You're not, tandeming somebody where you're like, oh shit, like I know I have to just be on his door no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Does he like shit on you in notes or anything like that? Or like what's that?
No, not really.
Like?
Honestly, Christian Nelson's my spotter and it's his first year on this year. And he was like, dude, like you're making this job too easy for me. Like I get off the plane and I know we're going to do good. I mean, my first lap out in New Jersey and St. Louis were almost perfect runs. So,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's a couple hiccups, things we need to change and stuff, obviously, but for the most part, like with my lead runs, he's super happy.
Okay. I think he's spending more time observing everybody else.
Right? Getting notes on everybody else, and like if I transitioned too early, which I was doing in St. Louis in practice a lot, which was putting me inside a lot, he was just telling me I just need to relax and. Just be more patient. And it did help me a lot for sure.
Yeah, the early transition's been I feel like it's come up more this year, and I don't know why, but
it was really
it's come up
3
more
to
this
4
year.
where it was bad. I mean, I did it in my top 32 battle with Dustin Miles.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a timing thing or like a not being able to see through the smoke? Or
it was timing. I just transitioned way too hard, and I should have slowed it down.
Gotcha.
I knew what I did, so going into my next round, I could change
Yeah.
it.
Do you keep track in your head at all with these? Like, are you like keeping a beat going or anything along those lines to know when to transition, or
No, not really.
just all gut?
Yeah, just all go. I just kind of just stay on his door, and when he transitions, I just try to back up a little bit, give him some space, and try to suck right back up.
Try to dig for your secret sauce here, man. You're giving me nothing.
Dude, I don't have secret sauce.
I know. It's just that's. But
Dude,
I think
sometimes I don't even know how I did that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
that's I think important for a lot of people to know, because like I'm sure you get questions like, how do you do this thing? How do you like? What do I do with this? And it's like, I don't know. You just put in a shitload of lap time and
Like
you'll start to do it.
I can't teach someone how to drive.
Yeah.
It's super hard.
But it just goes back to everything we've talked about. It's just the seat time. It's just putting in the laps, and then you don't have to think about it. It becomes second nature, right?
Which I think is key. I think if you can do that, it's definitely going to help you out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're walking proof.
It's like riding a motorcycle. Like I try to teach my girlfriend how to drive my Z or like a dirt bike with a clutch, and it's just like
Well, it's like someone.
It's
said
just hard
to
to
me a while
explain.
ago.
It's
Yeah,
because I don't think about it. I hop on a bike and it's just like I'm not thinking about like using the clutch or like letting it out slow or giving it gas. You know what I mean? It's just
you
natural.
just do.
Yeah, you just do.
Yeah. In the same way, it's just getting out of bed. You don't think, okay, I got to put my left foot down, I got to put my right foot down.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good because then you can do more things. You can take it to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, you're only as good as your worst default, right? Like if your default driving is that, and that's just instinct, then it becomes a lot easier. And I think that's what people forget, is that there is no real secret sauce. There is no like technique to like be good. It's just get to the point where you can't do it wrong anymore.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you see some of those Pro 1 guys, every single lap is just, it's perfect. It's like robotic.
Yeah. It is wild.
Yeah.
Like looking at like James Dean, it's just like, bro.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's like practice laps. There'll be like 2 or 3 laps in. I'm like, why?
You just won the event.
Like how?
You won practice.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but it is incredible to see how quickly you can pick out who's going to do well just in the first couple of laps of practice.
Yep. And I think that's kind of how it usually goes too.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of
Barring
people
a
coming up to me in
mechanical.
St. Louis. They're like, dude, your car is so fast. That thing just looks like, I know Josiah made one of his videos. It's like, dude, it looks like you're on a different tire.
Yeah. It does. And it's a discussion like him and I have had too, of just, it does. It looks like it's a bigger tire. So
Yeah.
watch, Kevin's going to be over there with the calipers the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. I just got you pulled into inspection every lap. Talking about all this weight savings.
No, we've
and
been running
bigger
GT
tire.
255s for 2.5 years now. And I think that helped me a lot too. I mean, we haven't really switched tires. I've been on a GT almost my whole driving career. We were on Acceleras for like the first 2 months. Then we switched to some Federal 275s. And then once we switched to GTs, we haven't gone back. And it's by far the best tire I've ever ran. So
I think that in itself is super key too. Like how many drivers are going to show up to Utah and not be on GTs? It's like, why wouldn't you've spent all this time and money to come here to practice. Like you should
you're
be
saying
on
for
the
the practice day.
Yeah. Or
yeah.
just when they're not competing, like they'll go out, they'll take their PROSPEC.
For sure. And
Pro
especially
car
like
out.
a big track like that. I mean, tire wear is key too. You need to make 2 laps without killing a set of tires.
Yeah. Which is not easy at that track.
Yeah. And we did really good in New Jersey and St. Louis. Like I still had like half tread left, which was really surprising.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's just telling me
I'm not going to complain, but I'm definitely taking those scrubs home with me. I'll tell you that.
The scrubs will live again.
Yeah, for sure. I actually competed on them all weekend in New Jersey at the Gambler this weekend. So
damn. That's
brought all the
wild.
scrubs.
I mean, hey, why not, right?
Yep.
Paid for them. Might as well use them.
Yep.
Yeah. But sick, dude. Well, I mean, as much as I like tried to pry, I mean, and get all the info and stuff out of you, I know you're a good company man. You'll keep it close to the chest, but I'm excited for whatever you're building. I really am, because I'm just interested to see and kind of be along with the journey and see what happens at the end of this year and obviously going into next year.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for next year too and see how this season ends. And yeah, I'm definitely pumped to maybe move up for next year.
Yeah.
Drive with the big guys.
I think you're ready. I really do. And I mean that like very sincerely, like, you know,
I appreciate that.
I won't lie. I don't think you're going to go in and like start crushing people, but I do think you'll show up and look comfortable and look like you belong there.
For sure. And it's not really even the plan to go there and start crushing people. I think if we can get a couple decent finishes, I'll be happy. But I think if I move up to Pro 1 next year, instead of staying in PROSPEC, I'll be a better driver. So,
yeah. I
mean, driving with the best is just going to...
If you want to be the best, you have to drive the best. That's really what it is. Right?
100%.
And I don't know many people that are driving PROSPEC to just keep driving PROSPEC. So,
yeah.
Yeah. I always feel silly.
We talked about like the double duty. I know like Dimitri and Rudy are doing that. It's definitely a lot, but.
Yeah, I've seen back and forth on that. Someone, I won't say who, but someone, I was asking their opinion on it, and they're a very good driver, and they're like, yeah, well, you're just not giving 100% to the series you should be.
Right.
I'm like, ooh,
and I can see that 100%.
interesting.
You're driving two different, I mean, I know one of the drivers is driving the same car in both, but if you're driving two different cars or if you're driving a car on two different tires, the car is going to feel different.
Well, and I wonder if there's bad habits you're picking up in PROSPEC that are holding you back in Pro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's the direction we're going to go. I think we got to stick to one. I definitely agree with you on that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see an issue with it. It's just like, it's very easy to point at doing double duty and be like, oh, look at all the seat time and track time they're getting. And they're like, that's great. But there are drawbacks with everything.
Yeah, pros and cons for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But hey, I don't know. I'm just a dude who talks about drifting. I'm not a guy who competes at that level. So what do I know anyways, right? Yeah, dude. So awesome. It's been super cool having you on. Any last minute shout outs, anything you want to throw in here before we wrap things up?
Yeah, for sure. I want to give a huge shout out to my team. All those guys, Rick RTS, Andrew, Marlon, my boy Jake, Quattro, my media guy, Christian, my spotter. Obviously, mom and dad, I couldn't do it without all you guys. And my whole family just coming out to support, my girlfriend, and all my sponsors and partners. Everyone just made it a lot easier this year. And I just want to give a big thank you to all those people.
Sick, man. Yeah, it's super cool to kind of see the community around it and obviously your family's involvement with it. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Mom cooking the steaks.
Yeah, for sure. Mom's always in the kitchen feeding the whole crew and stuff, and I can't thank her enough for that. And I think a lot of people think like drifting is just like it's not really a team sport, but it really is. And I definitely couldn't do it without all these people. So big thank you to all of them.
100%. So sick, dude. Well, like I said before, I really, really appreciate it. And for everybody listening and watching, thank you. And make sure to check out the links down below. Follow everything Conor O'Sullivan, and we'll catch everybody next week.
Sounds good. See you guys at Utah.